Encounter is brought to you by the Broome County Council of Churches, where we connect compassion with needs as we inspire growth with dignity. You'll find us in special places throughout the community. For those who remain hungry, we provide meals. For those who are challenged, we build wheelchair ramps. We comfort those who are ill, minister to those who are confined, and we remain an advocate for change and understanding on behalf of every element of our community. Connect and inspire. Encounter the Broome County Council of Churches.
Good morning and welcome to Encounter. I'm your host today, Joe Sellepack. I'm the Executive Director at the Broome County Council of Churches. Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of you who are celebrating it as well. I remember when I was a pastor in church, you know, it was kind of funny, but if you didn't mention Mother's Day on Mother's Day, boy, you got emails and all kinds of stuff from everybody. So I wanted to make sure that I acknowledged all of you mothers, because you're very important people to a lot of folks. And mothers kind of engender that kind of emotion, right, from their children.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's you know, my mom. If I forgot to call her on Mother's Day, or I forgot to do something like that, it would just be the most terrible thing in the world. It was like, you forgot me, and I just can't do that. It's not something I'm capable of doing.
It's our one day, right, out of the year to be celebrated. Yeah,
and maybe to get breakfast in bed, or all those nice little things too, right?
Yeah, that's a bonus.
So my guest today is Kristine Cunningham, and we're talking about her program, her organization, really. I mean, Mom's House. It's a great thing to celebrate on Mother's Day, isn't it?
Of course. We're all about empowering women and empowering mothers, so it's very appropriate that we're here today.
So empowering women and empowering mothers. You want to flesh that out a little bit?
Sure. So Mom's House is a nonprofit organization located in Broome County, and we provide free childcare and support services to single parents who are going to school in order to become financially self-sufficient.
Now that's another loaded statement, isn't it? You could flesh that one out a little bit more too, because how many women are involved in your program?
So in a typical semester, we have between 15 and 25 women and their children enrolled in our program. And the reason that we came to being was that, in order to become self-sufficient, about 33% of our county is low-income single parents. So that's really important to know, and I don't know if a lot of people know that. But in order for them to become self-sufficient, financially stable, they need to have some sort of hand up.
Right.
And I don't know if you know anything about daycare in this area, but
it's terrible.
Average daycare cost is between $250 and $350 a week. So if you're working a minimum wage job, it's impossible for you. It's going to take you almost your entire paycheck to pay for childcare. So there's no opportunity for you to improve your situation. So that's where we step in. We offer our services free of monetary fee, and we remove that barrier of not being able to afford childcare for our parents, so that they can still accomplish their goals and what they want to do with their life.
And that's got to be very hard, especially if you're a single mom, would be to make sure that you can take care of your children on the one hand, and then still be able to figure out how to go to school or do any improvement at all on your life.
Sure. And any educational program qualifies you for Mom's House. So whether you're in high school, in college, if you're learning a trade, we can provide services to you. And statistically, any post-secondary education increases your income by 30%, which is really key. So we give that opportunity to many, many women in our community.
Yeah, so Kristine, it's always interesting to me to talk to a fellow executive director, to find out how you got to be where you're at. Can you tell us a little bit about your story and how you got to be executive director at Mom's House?
Sure, yeah. So when I was in college, I was looking for an internship my last semester, and my mother actually suggested Mom's House. She was a supporter of the program, and so at the time, I ended up doing my internship there, and then when I graduated, they hired me as an assistant director. And over the years, just kind of worked my way up. I did, in 2005, I did take a break from working to stay home and raise my own children. And then about 4.5 years ago, one was off to college, one was just got his license and was going to be a senior, and I was like, okay, now what? Because as mothers, we put so much into our families. And so this position happened to be open. I love the organization. I love the mission. Have always wanted in my work life to do something that had a huge impact. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to come back, which I was so excited about. And I just love the job there.
No, thank you for that. It's it's interesting when I talk with folks who are in the service industries, like what we are in nonprofit charities. It's interesting to me that that oftentimes there's a connection between the story of the organization and the place where you are, right? Mm-hmm. And so I can see that in you, that you are, you're a mom. You understand the pressures of being a mother, right. And you also know what the folks who are going through your program, and you can empathize with them, it sounds like.
Absolutely. I mean, I've never been in their situation as a single parent, but I do know how hard it is to be a parent. I know how hard it is to go to school, right. And can imagine the stressors of doing both at the same time and not having a partner for support, right. Or that family support. And the way our program is designed, we know our families that are in our program very well. So I see firsthand, yeah, the struggles that they go through and the triumphs that they also achieve, which just makes my job more meaningful.
Yeah, and we often take for granted that support structure that we have in place, mm-hmm. and the amount of, like for my wife and me, we split mm-hmm. duties and obligations. I was, running kids to various sporting events or play practices and all that other kind of stuff. And then my wife, she would pick up something, and we were yeah. always juggling, all right. the time. And if you're by yourself, that's got to be a daunting task.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. And so as far as Mom's House is concerned, I mean, you are a charity, so that requires some money, right? You have
Correct,
to yes. You have to do a lot of fundraising and try to get help in that way, right?
Right. So we have about a $425,000 operating budget. We have the same bills that any other daycare center has. We just don't have that fee for service.
Right.
So we have to get out there and raise all of that money. We're not a government funded program. We do not have any guaranteed income year to year. So we do that in three main ways. We write grants to local foundations and trusts. We do some fundraising. We have a couple of major fundraisers every year and lots of little ones that we're always doing. And then we also have a donation program where businesses, individuals, organizations donate to our organization. And it's really I can't say enough about this community and the generosity that we see here. Yeah. And I tell the moms this all the time at our meetings, that the community is supporting them in such a big way. They believe in our program and what we're doing, and we are just so grateful for that support. To be able to operate this program the way we do, mm-hmm. Is a daunting task, but our community is just so generous and supports us so nicely.
Yeah, and it seems to me as if congregations, especially the ones that are that talk about a seamless pro-life kind of surrounding people, that they would really want to be involved in something like this with Mom's House, because
right.
it's such an important role that you're playing. You're
right.
helping surround them with care.
Right, and we feel like if you choose to keep your baby, we want to offer you a solution. So
Right.
you have the same opportunities that you had
Right.
prior to your pregnancy. And so you don't have to choose to end a pregnancy. You can choose to continue it, but then still have an opportunity for success.
Now, I used to know someone who said that they would rock babies at your at your organization. Can they still do that?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. So we have many volunteers. That's one of the unique programs or the unique things about our program is that we have qualified staff. Our staff is actually overqualified for their positions in the daycare portion of our organization. But we have so many volunteers that come in that allow us to give individualized attention to the children. And children growing up in poverty, there's certain things that they may face that children who don't grow up in poverty don't have to face, whether it's cognitive issues
Right.
or developmental delays, mental health issues. There's a whole host of things that they could face. And we're trying to mitigate that, right? Through our program, through a really good quality program. And part of that is our volunteers who are able to give that individualized attention to the children. We also, through our, it's a age-appropriate educational program that they're receiving, which is really key, so that when they go to kindergarten, they've gotten that base that they need, and they're also on a level playing field with their peers, so they don't start out their schooling behind.
Right.
So that's really, really important.
Yeah. So reading to children would be an important thing too, right? So you must have volunteers who read to children, who play with them, and do the work of really, because they say if a child doesn't get read to on a routine basis and played with and cared for by a loving and caring adult within the first even year of their life, you're kind of setting them up developmentally to be behind.
Sure.
So that's an important intervention that you're offering them.
Absolutely. And many of our daycare volunteers are retired teachers, retired nurses. We have a retired occupational and physical therapist. Not that they're all, coming from that kind of background, but it's really useful to us and to our families to have that.
Now, a $450,000 budget doesn't get raised just, by snapping your fingers. So you want to tell us a little bit about an event that's coming up this summer? Sure.
We have on July 8th, we have our annual golf tournament. We've been doing it for many, many years, and it's a great event. It's a well-run event. So foursomes can come out and play in the tournament. We have sponsorships that are available. We typically raise about $33,000 to $35,000 through that event, so it's really critical to the running of our organization. And it's a captain and crew.
Oh yeah.
So it's just a great event.
Well, captain and crew is the only way that I ever play because, frankly, I would never get through a course if it weren't for other people shooting it for me. So I'm just terrible. I'm a terrible golfer.
Okay.
I do golf.
Well, I'm actually just learning to golf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I never really saw the draw, because who has 5 hours to go out and spend on the golf course? But yeah, I am learning.
It was funny. I think it was Groucho Marx, or I can't remember who it was, that said golfing ruins a good walk. I sometimes get that, but
yeah, I get that too.
But I'm sure a lot of our viewers and our listeners, they're big golfers, so
yes.
They can, so in order for a person to get signed up for this captain and crew event, how would they do that?
They can go to our website, which is www.momshouseny.org. And you can sign up right online, you can pay online, or they could call the office.
Okay, and are you looking for sponsorships too from organizations and businesses?
We are, and we have a full range of sponsorships. We have whole sponsors for $100 up to, an event sponsor for $5,000. So there's a huge range of sponsorships in there, and those are all listed on our website as well.
Very cool. And they can, so that was www.momshouseny.org. Very good. So that's for all of our folks that are listening in Radio Land out there. So for all of you, for everyone else, they're seeing the actual registration form, so they could probably pick it up from there too, right?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about what you actually do at your organization. So you have you have cognitive support. You're offering volunteer opportunities for people, and you're also looking for donors as well to come alongside of you.
Right.
So these are ways that people can begin to participate with you. How would they go about if we were looking at a volunteer? How could they become a volunteer at Mom's House?
So they could, again, go to our website. We have a volunteer application on our website, and they can also just give us a call, and then we'll have them come in for an interview. Because we're a daycare center, we have a lot of regulations we have to follow, so there is a process to go through with background checks and different things like that. But it's a very rewarding thing to do. And I think it's important to know we're a solutions-based program, right? So because we're enabling people to get their education, that is theirs forever. So it's not our program is not a Band-Aid where we're providing something that they need to have another step in order to get to self-sufficiency.
Right.
We're providing them that opportunity to become self-sufficient. And our program is very comprehensive as well. So the daycare is the biggest thing we do for our moms, but we also have many other programs. We get a lot of food and clothing donated to us. We pass that on to our parents. We have tutors if our parents are having trouble in a class. One of the requirements is that they maintain passing grades. So we'll hook them up with a community tutor. We have this amazing mental health and wellness program that's grant funded, and we have a social worker on staff who provides short-term counseling to the parents and the children. That is a service that is really hard to find in this community,
right.
So it has been a blessing to us to be able to offer it at Mom's House. Also, as part of that mental health and wellness program, we have a Pilates and yoga instructors who come in, work with the moms. They also, believe it or not, provide that class to the children. All the kids can do downward dog and tree, which is just adorable to see.
I'm sure it is.
We also have a life coach that comes in and does her program with the children and with the parents. So it is really a very supportive, well-rounded program in addition to the daycare that we're providing.
So my guest today is Kristine Cunningham, the Executive Director of Mom's House, and we're here talking about her program and all the services that they offer, they offer, and also the various ways that people can connect with your program. So coming up in June, or very, very quickly here. I mean, it's amazing to think about how the school year is kind of like winding down now.
Yes.
But you have a graduation coming up, right?
We do. So our goal is to help parents graduate, right? So we really want to celebrate that. And so every year we have a graduation party with our families, and, the moms and their children and their families, if they have families locally, and our supporters, in order to really congratulate them on a job well done. And that's coming up on June 9th, I believe. I think we'll have 6 graduates this year. And the thing about our graduates is they are now able to go out and get meaningful employment where they're earning a living wage. Instead of taking taxes, they're paying taxes.
Right.
They're patronizing local businesses. They're supporting organizations, Mom's House and other organizations in our community. They're patronizing local businesses. So it's really a win-win for this community. While this community is helping them get from point A to point B, once they're at point B, then they're great community members, and they're going to do that same thing for the people that come behind them.
Now, our listeners didn't get to see the picture that came up, and I thought that was a great picture. It had a mother walking across the stage at BU. She had a gold cord around her, as well as, the robe and all the rest of it, which signifies that she was graduating with honors. Mm-hmm. And her son is with her walking across the stage. That's a great tribute to what your program does. Do you see the
smile on her son's face?
Oh, he is huge.
This is one of my favorite pictures, because like a picture says 1,000 words.
Right.
And that picture just says everything. And
right.
he is so proud of her. And so he's going to go to college when he grows up. He's seeing this example from his mother.
Right.
And so instead of the cycle of poverty that is so hard to break,
right.
there's a new cycle that's developed, and a cycle of independence and education. And his smile, the way he's so happy for himself and for her, is incredible.
Yeah, I look at that and I'm going, boy, that kid has got a great lease on life, because
totally. Yes.
his mom showed him how he can be different in his life. So that's amazing work there. So you must have some success stories that you hold on to. I know executive directors, we always have like these stories that we pull with us. Is there anything that you would like to talk about, like a story that you would like to share about?
Yeah,
something?
I would love to. I mean, I have so many of them.
Right,
we have
right.
so many successes. We've had 275 graduates in the time that we've been open, and many others that we've helped along the way that either their child went to kindergarten or something, that they didn't actually graduate with us, but they were able to continue their education. But one of the stories I like to tell is of a high school student we had many, many years ago, and very quiet. She was in 10th or 11th grade. Often thought of her. She's one of the ones that just has always stood out to me. I don't remember all the moms, but she always stood out to me because she just seemed so sad, and so she was in a very difficult situation.
Right.
She had no friends in her situation. She was very young and trying to raise her child, and she graduated from high school with us and then went out of town for her bachelor's degree, and she continued on beyond that. But maybe two and a half years ago, we started getting donations from her.
Oh, right.
And I was so intrigued because we got the first one, and I was like, well, that's interesting. We haven't heard from her, and she was with us when she was in high school, so what kind of impact would she, even though we did make a big impact because it got her through high school, she was young, so you don't think that would be recognized.
Right.
And then every month we're getting these donations, and it's a pretty large donation. So I emailed her. And I said, do you remember me? I would love to hear what you've done and what your story is. And she has worked all over. She's, at the time, was living in California. Now she's living in Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
Has traveled to Guam with her job. And she said, I would never be where I am without you guys.
Wow.
And it's so impactful to me. And we hear a lot of those stories, but that in particular was so impactful because she was so young.
Right.
And I just wouldn't have expected that connection. And she just has continued. We have something called Golden Grandparents, which is anyone that donates over $1,000 a year. And she has been a Golden Grandparent every year since that first donation.
Is she a grandparent herself, or?
She never had any additional children.
Oh, okay.
But has lived this great life and wants to give back and has the ability to give back. And that's what I mean, like that full circle.
Right.
She utilized the program, and now she's enabling other people to have that same opportunity.
And that's an important thing to remember too, is that when you're helping somebody out in a critical position point in their life, you're also you're setting them up into a different trajectory than what they could possibly have gone down.
Absolutely.
You intervened at a
Absolutely.
very important part in her point in her life.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So Mom's House. If they want to find out a little bit more about Mom's House, let's go ahead and say how they can get to know a little bit more about you.
Okay, well, we have a lot of information on our website. Again, that's www.momshouseny.org. They can call our office. I love having the opportunity to speak about Mom's House. It's such a unique and fun program that I love to go out and talk to people about it. So I'm available to go out if organizations want a speaker, to businesses, whatever.
In churches, that kind of thing.
Churches, yes, yeah. Love to spread the word about what we're doing.
And so, we have about a minute and a half. Is there another story that you want to tell us?
Yes, I have. So part of our mental health and wellness program, which I think is so critical to the kids and the moms in our program, one of the things the life coach does with the children is breathing techniques and emotional regulation. And then they're very little, so you
Right.
think that impact would be very small to non-existent. But one of the moms sent us a video of her daughter who was 2 years old, and she had an infant son, and he was crying. And the
Oh,
daughter
my.
is saying, just breathe in, breathe out. So that connection, not only did she know how to use it to calm herself down, but she knew how to teach it to someone else.
Right.
And if we could have that connection with all little people by the time, it's going to make their lives so much easier
Yeah.
and so much better, I feel like. And we're blessed to have that opportunity.
I don't know how many times I've had to tell myself, all right, just breathe.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. It's important, and for a kid to realize that too at that point, it's just such a great skill to learn. Right?
Oh, it's amazing.
It's simple, but it's very, very profound.
Right, absolutely.
Well, Kristine, I want to thank you for being on Encounter today and for helping us celebrate mothers. And the work that you do at Mom's House is impressive and very, very timely, especially if we want to help empower women and change the trajectory of their life. So thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And for all of you that are watching or viewing today or listening, I want you to have a happy Mother's Day and be kind to your mom. Have a great day.